Am I about to do what's called preaching to the choir? Ooh, come on, help me out. The nice flyer that you were handed out introduces me sufficiently, I think. It'll also show you the side of me that has a sense of humor, although I'm only partly bringing that side of me today. I was surprised and grateful to be invited, and I think from the emails I got when the announcement went out, a lot of people are surprised that I was invited to speak, and I won't let you down. But when I was asked to talk about the theme of welcoming, even though this is often a space where we think in relaxing or pleasant ways, my thoughts went to some negative places. And one is because I'm a historian, and I was thinking about the kind of selective and often very creative forgetting that we do about history that works to discriminate and oppress people. The other one was the idea of privilege. You might even be tired of starting to hear about. But the ease of privilege that we get from being lulled into a false sense that the appearances or the mission statements or the other ways of welcoming that we're putting out in our culture are actually related to the lived reality and experience of some of us, and I don't think they are. So I'm going to talk from two positions, that of the idea of selective forgetting and also the idea of privilege. So, welcoming is nice, right? Hey, how are you? You're welcome here. I welcome you. But some of us are always one or two steps from the camps, from the burning crosses or bombs, or lone shooters, from the cops who would kill us rather than ask us simple questions, from the neighbor mad about parking, from the presidential candidates who seem to want to get rid of us. For you, maybe, that may seem distant. Historical, even though it's still happening. A one-off, even though there are so many one-offs we can't even count them. For us, it can happen at any moment. And we've seen even our closest friends, family, colleagues turn away from us in that moment, or worse, join in. For us, welcoming is not really enough. You might welcome us, but we're never totally sure that you won't hurt us, either directly when push comes to shove, or indirectly through benign neglect when the really bad people come. Welcoming is a beginning. It's a good beginning. It's an important beginning. But after the welcome is what concerns me. After you say, we want more of your kind here, or more often, and perhaps underneath that, we've decided it's okay for you to be here as long as it makes us look good. We want to hear, feel, and see something more. Some assurance that we're not just here for you to check a box or prove to yourself that you're really open-minded, that some of your best friends are our type, that there's a lot of distance between you and the person who hangs that flag, burns that cross, picks us up on the corner and then takes us around it and beats us to death or locks us in the basement, sets our nightclub on fire with us in it, turns on the gas, puts us in solitary and locks the door, simply ensures one way or another that we cannot be humans. Through voting rights or immigration laws, positions of leadership, or even just an understanding that we are just as varied within our identities as you are. If you've never felt like your mere presence, your existence, or your appearance brought forth in others hatred and fear, even violence, if you've never felt that, it's hard for you to imagine what it's like. To have someone show you a form of hospitality simply by not deterring you, or even encouraging your inclusion in a group or a place, only to watch all the eyes upon you, waiting. To suddenly feel every hair on the head of your particular hairstyle or underneath your particular head covering, because you can see people staring at it and not know if the staring will turn to something worse. If you know that feeling, you know what I mean. We don't always feel it, not every day, not everywhere, not even when some of you try to make us feel it. But sooner or later, we feel it. And if you know that feeling, you know that welcoming is nice and hospitality is swell. But it isn't enough. And if you don't know that feeling, let me encourage you to take the one step past welcoming at least, to understand that even after your kind, hospitable, and certainly well-intentioned start, we still don't know. when the bat or the gun or the perfectly legal pink slip or the revealing phrase will come out. And inevitably it does, even though you might imagine those days are past. We know they're not, and they're always potentially around every corner. Even in your nice house that you have welcomed us into, it is, after all, still your house. And often, in your way of welcoming us, you manage to make that clear. Now, it's become pretty popular for a variety of types of institutions, big and small, to make a clear official statement about welcoming, and that's actually a really good move. I support that move. But if it's true, if it works, then why are so many people still not coming out? And I mean not coming out as whatever. Why still are so many people, the people who are named as the other in those statements, not on the boards, at the tops of reporting chains, in the places where the decisions are really made? Certainly not in the numbers that matter or show something other than tokenism, or create a space where they can speak their position, as I'm lucky to do today. How many parties do we have to have across the centuries for those firsts? And how many of us know the firsts aren't even the firsts? Your firsts haven't actually been the firsts, but still you clap us on the back, all proud that you were part of that not first. A couple weeks ago, my dear colleague L.D. Russell spoke beautifully about talking to those young men driving around with the Confederate flags hanging off their pickups. And that is absolutely the right idea for some of you. For some of us, that might get us killed. Recent history, even the news of this week, tells us that. And a lot of the time, it's us that you expect to talk to those folks. It's us that you expect to tell you how to fix the things that are broken in the system that you made. And that system is broken in your favor. We seem to be waiting optimistically for the point when people of color outnumber white people, or when people learn enough about science, social construction, and the obvious problems with binaries to realize that they might in fact be in our LGBTQIA club. I'm ready for that utopia. I talk about that utopia in my classes a lot, where Susie is just Susie, and we don't assume that Susie is a particular gender, race, class, has a particular set of abilities, just by looking at them. In fact, we don't really care about those things. We just want to know how Susie is. But we're not even close to that utopia. I know that every time I pass by the Chick-fil-A that Elon kept on campus, after many of its students and faculty asked to have it removed because it had become a symbol of hatred and intolerance. I know it every time there's another slur yelled at a student on this campus, and we act like it's the first time. I know it every time someone on this campus is raped and doesn't feel like they can tell anyone. And every time someone on this campus rapes and tells everyone. And I especially know it when I hear and see people of power trying to discourage students from protesting while claiming that they do so out of concern for those students. If you're concerned, go protest with those students, however they choose to. Because when you don't, what you're saying is that there is proper and improper behavior. And us being upset about our oppression and showing that is improper. We need to get over it, to work within your system, to try to catch those flies with honey, to meet those people where they are. And then we know exactly how welcome we are. We're welcome when we behave properly, and we don't get to define what that properly is. It's usually wearing the clothes that you would wear, or talking the way that you would talk, or eating what you would eat, or being able to move like you do, or read as quickly, or get married. Or it's conforming to your stereotype of us, the sassy or happy despite their circumstances person that is so easy to like. And then you can feel like by liking them, you've welcomed all of us. Most of us. Maybe not the angry ones. When you approve of those stereotypes and then pat yourself on the back for having done so, then we know how welcome we are. So today, I ask everyone in this beautiful space, the space of contemplation, myself included, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to move beyond just saying, you're welcome here? Thanks.